Imagine this moment unfolding right in front of your eyes. Joe Rogan, the absolute king of podcasts, the man who's sat across from everyone, scientists, fighters, comedians, controversial figures, suddenly finds himself face to face with Mufti Menk. Two completely different worlds colliding in one room. One is the voice of modern curiosity, constantly questioning, always pushing boundaries, never accepting easy answers. The other is the voice of Islamic wisdom, carrying centuries of spiritual knowledge, divine guidance, timeless truth into our chaotic modern age. What happens when these two forces actually meet? You get fireworks, you get truth bombs, you get humor mixed with profound wisdom. Life, changing lessons that hit you right in the chest and refuse to let go. This isn't your typical podcast episode that you'll forget by tomorrow. The conversation everyone's talking about. This is the dialogue that's making skeptics pause, believers reflect, seekers finally find answers they've been searching for their entire lives. Let's break down the 7 most powerful moments of this extraordinary exchange. 7 revelations that have the potential to completely transform how you see existence, suffering, strength, freedom, and your ultimate purpose in this temporary world. Abstract theories debated in ivory towers. These are practical truths you can apply today, right now, to find the peace and clarity you've been desperately craving. Rogan leans forward in his characteristic pose, his body language betraying a mixture of genuine curiosity and the healthy skepticism he's built his reputation on. Eyebrows arch upward as he poses the question that has echoed through countless philosophy departments, late-night college dorm room debates, therapy sessions, and personal existential crises throughout human history. Why do people even believe in God? It's the kind of penetrating question that cuts through social pretense and demands complete honesty. It's the question millions think but never ask out loud. This is Joe Rogan's superpower, his willingness to vocalize what others only dare to think silently. He's not trying to be provocative for the sake of controversy. He genuinely wants to understand. Mufti Menk just smiles, the kind of calm, knowing smile that says, "I've heard this one before." There's no defensiveness in that smile, no offended reaction, intellectual posturing, just patient understanding. And then he drops the first gem of wisdom that sets the foundation for everything that follows, because deep down, soul knows it didn't just pop out of nowhere. This deceptively simple statement cuts through centuries of complex philosophical debate with surgical precision. You can argue about science or history all you want. You can construct elaborate theories about evolution, cosmology, and the nature of consciousness. When you're lying in bed staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning, when all the noise has finally died down and you're alone with your thoughts, that question haunts you. Why am I here? That's the built-in compass Allah gave every single human being. It's your spiritual GPS, your soul's operating system. The Qur'an nails it in Surah Ar-Rum, verse 30. Direct your face toward the religion inclining to truth. Adhere to the fitrah of Allah upon which He has created mankind. Translation, you were born with a GPS for truth. Might get covered with layers of doubt, buried under distractions, corrupted by bad habits, but it never switches off. It can't be uninstalled. Biggest atheist praise when turbulence hits at 35,000 feet. Why? Because the heart knows who to call when things get real. It's like Wi-Fi. You don't see it. You know it's there. Disconnect and you're lost. Your maps don't work. Your messages don't send. Your entire digital life collapses. Try to replace that divine signal with other networks. Career, fame, relationships, material stuff. But no matter how strong those signals seem, they always drop out when you need them most. Only one connection never fails your creator. And when that connection is strong, everything else, your struggles, your wins, your losses starts to make sense. The chaos becomes clarity. The confusion becomes purpose. Mufti Menk tells Joe, belief isn't about blind faith. It's about recognizing the signs. Look around. The sunrise that paints the sky every morning without fail. The way your heart pumps non-stop without you even thinking about it. Your lungs breathing, your cells regenerating, brain processing millions of pieces of information every second, all without your conscious control. The Quran repeats this over and over. Indeed, the creation of the heavens and the earth, and in the alternation of the night and the day, are signs for those of understanding. Surah Al-Imran, verse 19 Yov. Signs are everywhere. Are you paying attention, or are you too distracted by your phone? Too caught up in the endless scroll, the constant notifications? artificial urgencies that keep you perpetually anxious and never present. And here's the kicker: everyone is searching for truth, whether they admit it or not. Some search in philosophy, some search in money, some search in endless self-help books, always one more course away from enlightenment. But here's the joke: people keep opening new apps when the operating system already came pre-installed. Islam doesn't give you new software. It reconnects you to the original factory settings. That's why people feel at peace when they finally surrender to Allah. It's not something foreign being imposed on them. It's coming home, the relief of a lost child who finally finds their parent. So Joe sits back, scratching his head, realizing the search for truth isn't about finding something new, about uncovering what was inside you all along. Mufti Menk reminds him, you can deny everything, you can't deny your own soul calling you back. But what happens when life hits you hard and that Wi-Fi signal feels weak? That's where the next point absolutely blows your mind. Throws his hands in the air with characteristic expressiveness. Man, suffering sucks. And he's right. Nobody wakes up excited about heartbreak, loss, or struggle. Pain is, by definition, that's literally the point. But Mufti Menk doesn't flinch. He leans in and says, yes, pain hurts, but pain also teaches. Then he adds the line that makes the whole table go quiet. Without pain, there's no growth. And suddenly the atmosphere shifts from complaint to contemplation. Because let's be real, every scar tells a story. Every setback carries a lesson. And every tear waters the soil of your future strength. Think about it. Muscles don't grow by chilling on the couch. They grow when you push them to their breaking point. Diamonds aren't formed in cozy conditions. They're forged under extreme pressure. And even the tallest trees had to push through layers of dirt just to find the sun. The Qur'an nails this in one simple, powerful line. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Surah Ash-Shar verse 6. Notice it doesn't say after hardship. It says with, meaning the gift is hidden inside the grind. Joe nods because he gets it immediately. Fighters in the UFC don't become champions by avoiding pain. Champions by learning how to use pain. The bruises, the broken bones, the sweat in the gym, that's the tuition fee for greatness. And life works the same way. The heartbreaks, failures, the setbacks, those are Allah's way of training you for the version of yourself you're meant to become. Without them, you'd never evolve. Mufti Menk cracks a smile and says, look, life was all comfort. You'd never pray, you'd never reflect, you'd never grow. And it's absolutely true. Most of us don't call on Allah when the fridge is full, the Wi-Fi is strong, and Netflix is working fine. But the second life punches us in the gut. Suddenly our hearts soften. Suddenly we remember who's really in control. Pain is Allah's wake-up call. His way of pulling you closer when you've drifted too far. And here's the twist. Sometimes the thing you thought was destroying you was actually building you. That breakup made you stronger. That financial loss made you smarter. That illness made you grateful for health. The Prophet Muhammad said, no fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for that. So Bukhari and Muslim, pain doesn't just teach, it cleanses, wipes away sins and polishes your soul. So Joe sits there, wide-eyed, realizing suffering isn't just random chaos, it's a system, it's training, and Mufti Menk delivers the knockout line. Struggles aren't punishments, they're preparation. But hold on. If pain is training, then what's the ultimate goal? That's where faith flips the script entirely. Rogan can't help himself. He's obsessed with strength. He talks about fighters, warriors, guys who push their bodies to the extreme. He says, man, strongest people are the ones who dominate in the ring, who lift insane weights. Mufti Menk chuckles, adjusts his scarf, and says, that's impressive. You know who the strongest man really is. The whole room goes quiet. Joe leans in. And then Mufti Menk drops the mic. The strongest man is not the one who knocks people out, the one who controls his anger. That's not just wisdom, that's straight from the Prophet Muhammad, who said the strong man is not the one who can wrestle, the one who controls himself at the time of anger. A Bukhari and Muslim. Boom. Suddenly strength isn't about how much you can lift, but how much you can hold back. It's not about crushing others. It's about crushing your ego when it wants to explode. Because anyone can throw a punch, but very few can swallow their pride. Think about road rage. You're driving, someone cuts you off, and your blood pressure skyrockets. Your ego screams, yell at him, show him who's boss. But real strength, that's biting your tongue, breathing deep, and letting it go. Harder than deadlifting 400 pounds. And let's be honest, if you can't control your temper controls you. Who's the slave now? That's why Islam flips the script. Strongest warrior isn't the guy with muscles, it's the guy with discipline. Joe nods slowly because he's seen it. Fighters who lose control in the octagon often lose the fight. They gas out. Sloppy, they make mistakes. Meanwhile, the calm, disciplined fighter usually walks away with the win. Life works the same way. Who can't master themselves lose battles every day, battles with anger, jealousy, greed, or ego. The Quran reminds us, those who restrain anger and pardon people. And Allah loves the doors of good. Surah Al-Imran, verse 134. That's divine strength. And here's the kicker. Controlling anger doesn't make you weak. It makes you untouchable. Imagine someone insults you, but you don't react. They expect fireworks, but you give them silence. That's power. Proven their words don't control you. That's next level strength. Emotional jiu-jitsu. You don't absorb their energy, you flip it. And in that moment, one without even throwing a punch. So Mufti Menk smiles and says to Joe, real strength isn't about dominating others, about dominating yourself. And Joe just sits there shaking his head because deep down he knows every fighter, every champion, every legend was great not just because of physical power, of mental and emotional control. Now, here's the twist. What if real freedom isn't doing whatever you want, but mastering what controls you? Joe leans back, smirking. At the end of the day, man, we're all chasing freedom. Isn't that what life's about? Doing what you want when you want. Mufti Menk raises his eyebrows and shoots back. That's what everyone thinks. But let me tell you the truth. You're either a slave to society, money, or your own desires, or a servant of the one who made you free. And suddenly the room shifts. That simple line just dismantled the world's biggest illusion. Because here's the reality. Everyone worships something. Some people worship money. Some worship fame. Some worship the opinions of others. They may not call it worship, but look at how they live. They'll sacrifice sleep and even dignity just to chase those idols. And the Quran calls it out directly. Have you seen the one who takes his own desires as his God? Surah Al-Jathiyah, verse 23. Boom. That verse alone explains modern life. People think they're free, but they're chained by cravings. Take money, for example. People grind 24/7 thinking wealth will buy happiness. Money isn't a master that ever says, okay, you're done. You've earned enough. No, it whispers more, more, more. Fame is the same. 1 million followers and suddenly 2 million isn't enough. Desires are like a fire. The more you feed them, the bigger they burn. That's not freedom. That's slavery with golden chains. Scratches his beard and mutters. So what does real freedom look like then? Mufti Menk grins and says, worship the Creator, not the creation. When you serve Allah, you stop bowing to everything else. And that's the paradox. Submission to Allah isn't weakness. It's the strongest form of liberation. Because now society can't control you. Money can't own you. And desires can't enslave you. Allah says in the Quran, and I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me. Surah Al-Dariyat, verse 56. That's not a chain. That's a key. Think about it this way. A fish is free only when it stays in water. Take it out and it flops around gasping for air, dying in the name of freedom. Humans are the same. We were designed to live within the guidance of Allah. Step outside it, and you might feel free for a moment, but slowly you suffocate. Real freedom comes when you live as you were designed, not as your ego tricks you. So Mufti Menk leans in, voice calm but sharp. The world tells you freedom is doing whatever your desires want. Islam tells you freedom is rising above them. And Joe doesn't have a comeback because deep down he knows every addiction, every obsession, every craving is a form of slavery, and only one master sets you free. Okay, how do you actually live that freedom in today's chaos? That's where the next lesson lands like a thunderbolt. Joe rubs his head and sighs. Man, life feels complicated. Mess, deadlines, relationships, bills, drama. Mufti Menk chuckles softly and says, that's because humans love to complicate what Allah made simple. And right there, the truth hits like a jab to the ribs. Because really, who complicates life? We do. Our egos, our endless wants, our obsession with control. Islam's approach is shockingly simple. 5 daily prayers, a little charity, fast once a year, speak good words, show kindness. That's it. The Prophet Muhammad put it in plain words, make things easy and do not make them difficult. said Bukhari and Muslim. But here's the catch people don't like easy. They crave drama. They invent rituals, chase trends, overthink faith, and then complain that life feels heavy. It's like cooking instant noodles, but still somehow making a mess in the kitchen. Joe laughs because he knows it's true. Humans turn life into a circus. Bigger houses, fancier cars, endless achievements. But what happens? The more plates you try to spin, the more likely they crash. Mufti Menk leans in and says, isn't found in chasing more. Peace is found in appreciating less. And instantly it feels like the noise of modern life just got muted. Think about gratitude. It doesn't need an app, subscription, or a PhD. You just wake up, breathe, and say, Alhamdulillah, you've already won the morning. But people ignore the basics, chasing shiny distractions instead. They'll scroll TikTok for 2 hours, but can't sit still for 2 minutes in prayer. They complicate their schedule with nonsense, then cry about being stressed. The Quran keeps it simple. Remember me, I will remember you. So Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 52. That's the easiest exchange you'll ever make. And here's the irony, when life feels the most complicated, the solution is always the simplest. Lost in stress, pray. Feeling empty, give charity. Overwhelmed, take a walk. Breathe, remember Allah. Need a 500-page self-help book to know that. You just need to go back to basics. The problem isn't that life is complex. The problem is that we keep ignoring the simple things that work. So Mufti Menk points at Joe and says, simplicity is power. The ones who complicate life are usually the ones avoiding the truth. Joe grins, shaking his head. It makes perfect sense. All the chaos in his head could be solved with the simplest of habits. And for the first time, he sees that peace isn't about adding more, about subtracting the noise. But here's the kicker, if life is simple, why do we keep running in circles like hamsters on a wheel? Joe cracks a joke. These days are addicted to everything. Junk food, Netflix binges, endless scrolling. It's like everyone's chasing a cheap high. A Mufti Menk laughs, then leans forward with intensity. That's because the heart doesn't get full from any of that. It only finds rest in the remembrance of Allah. He quotes the Quran, verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. Surah Ar-Ra'd, verse 28. And suddenly Joe isn't laughing anymore because deep down he knows every quick fix fades. Think about it. Food hits you with flavor, then leaves you bloated. Parties might feel fun in the moment, but the hangover is brutal. Scrolling Instagram gives you a dopamine rush, but after an hour, emptier than before. It's like drinking salty water. The more you drink, the thirstier you get. That's what life feels like when you chase the wrong highs. The short-term thrill robs you of long-term peace. Joe nods because he's seen it in the fight game too. Fighters chasing fame, attention, wild lifestyles, only to burn out and broken when the lights go off. Mufti Menk reminds him, when you chase the dunya, worldly life, it always runs away. When you chase Allah, dunya follows you. Paradox, the more you obsess over material highs, the more they escape. But when you anchor yourself in faith, peace comes to you naturally. Prophet Muhammad explained it perfectly. Whoever makes the hereafter his concern, Allah will place wretchedness in his heart, bring his affairs together, and the world will come to him reluctantly. And whoever makes the world his concern, Allah will place poverty between his eyes, scatter his affairs, and he will get nothing from the world except what was decreed for him. Tirmidhi. Translation, chase the wrong highs and you end up empty. Chase Allah and life falls into place. And let's be honest, modern life is designed to hook you on fake highs. Algorithms are built to keep you scrolling. Ads are designed to keep you buying. Whole industries profit from your emptiness. Here's the secret. The emptiness never goes away until you fill it with what you were created for. Remembering Allah, connecting with Him, living with purpose. That's the only high that doesn't crash. So Mufti Menk looks Joe in the eye and says, the soul doesn't run on likes, money, or pleasure. It runs on dhikr, prayer, and gratitude. You can hack your brain with dopamine, but you can't hack your soul. And Joe, for once, silent because deep inside he knows that chasing the wrong highs is why so many people are more connected than ever, yet lonelier than ever. Which brings us to the last and most powerful point. What happens when this life ends? Joe leans back, his face serious for the first time. So what's the end game? What's all this for? Mufti Menk's eyes lock with his calm but piercing, isn't the end, Joe. It's the beginning of eternity, and what you do here decides what you find there. Suddenly, the room is quiet, because no amount of money, fame, power matters when the clock runs out. This life is a test, not the prize. Think about it, everyone lives like life is infinite. We postpone kindness, delay prayers, ignore opportunities to help. We think, I'll start tomorrow, next week, next year. But as Mufti Menk points out, tomorrow is never guaranteed. The Prophet reminded us, take benefit of 5 your youth before your old age, your health before your sickness, your wealth before your poverty, your free time before your preoccupation, your life before your death, al-Hakim. That's the real wake-up call. Joe pauses, absorbing it. He's used to talking about peak performance, mental toughness, and legacy. Mufti Menk reframes it. The real legacy isn't the millions of followers, the awards, or the wealth. It's the good you leave behind, the prayers you made, the hearts you touched, sins you avoided. Every action in this life is like a deposit into your eternal bank account. Small deeds, unseen moments, quiet acts of kindness, they all count. And here's the kicker. Life is fleeting, but the next life is permanent. Imagine a marathon where the last mile never ends, but every stride counts. Allah reminds us in the Qur'an, so whoever does an atom's way to good will see it. Surah Az-Zalzalah, verse 7, that's mind-blowing. Even the tiniest act, a smile, a word of encouragement, a prayer, isn't wasted. Everything you do with sincerity becomes eternal currency. Joe finally nods, understanding the gravity. All the chasing, all the struggles, all the highs and lows, they're not meaningless. They're preparation. Every test, every heartbreak, every triumph is shaping the soul for the real reality, the ultimate scoreboard that never lies. Mufti Menk reminds him, this world is temporary. The reality you choose now is eternal. That's not doom and gloom. That's empowerment. And finally, Mufti Menk leans forward, voice soft but firm. When you remember the final reality, purposeful, the chaos becomes clarity. Every prayer, every struggle, every act of goodness is a stepping stone toward eternity. And the beautiful thing, Allah's mercy is greater than every sin, every mistake, every failure. And if that truth doesn't shake you awake, nothing will. It's time to take control of your soul before the final bell rings. Man, this whole conversation just blew my mind. Think about it carefully. We just went from purpose to patience, from truth to brotherhood, and it all connects seamlessly. Isn't about religion being a set of restrictive rules. This is about life having actual meaning. Islam isn't just a faith, it's a comprehensive system for strength, for clarity, for unity. And honestly, in a world that's falling apart, that's the conversation everybody needs to be having right now. Now, here's the deal. If this got you thinking, even one of these points hit you in the chest, don't just sit on it. Do something with it. Reflect deeply. Ask questions. Seek knowledge. Because growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you lean in and say, yeah, I want to know more. And hey, if you're vibing with this, smash that like button. Drop a comment below. Let me know your biggest takeaway, because I don't want this to be just a monologue. This is a conversation. I want your voice in it too. Most importantly, subscribe, not just because it helps the channel grow, but because every week we're diving deeper into these big, uncomfortable, game-changing conversations. And trust me, want to miss what's coming next. At the end of the day, here's the truth. Life's short. Distractions are endless, but your soul is eternal. Feed it with purpose, with wisdom, with God's guidance. Then what are you really doing? So stay curious, stay hungry for truth, and remember, the rope of Allah is strong enough to pull anyone out of the chaos if you're willing to grab it.